Welcome back to Forced Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be talking about Mullen once more. Now, I did talk about Mullen a few times before. The last time was around last week, where it basically was around the same price level as today. And the first time I talked about it was where it was around 56 cents. So it has gone through a lot since then. But we do have some new news that we can talk about that basically give you an idea about where this company is going. So the last one that might be somewhat still relevant, March 24th, and it says leading publication of WCCF Tech reports Mullen Automotive continues to receive strong interest from a growing and devoted group of Mullen 5 enthusiasts. Now, this is very similar to starting to pick up like Tesla does. You're having people who are Mullen 5 enthusiasts, and it is true. There have been a lot of people that are fans of the Mullen 5 and can't wait to get their hands on it. Some people have stock shares and they want to basically see Mullen 5 succeed so they can try to get rich. But basically, there's different motives, but overall, you kind of get to see why there is a massive amount of interest that is picking up for this one. But other than that, there's not significant news that we can report on. I'm still waiting on the last quarter's results, so we can see some of the valuations and profitability, as well as start to compare the balance sheets compared to, let's say, previously Tesla, where it was around the same stage, and other EVs, prominent EVs that are basically walking the same walk, but just a bit of ahead of them in the race and have gone perhaps profitable. Now, institutional buyers, you're able to see, for instance, on the 10th of March, you have 2 additional new purchases of investments. Piezer, Terrans, and Iosa Holdings have basically around 29 and 20 million shares respectively. Institutional buyers overall, you're able to see that there's not much going on in March. There's not really anything to be reported on, so there's that. In terms of insiders, you see Missouri David has sold a bit amount of shares, so he still has around like 8 million shares, and he's sold around 200,000 shares. So basically, a part of what these people are being paid off is through sometimes shares or through stock options, and they have to redeem it every now and then to make part of their salary come true towards actual dollars. And that is totally acceptable. Now, in terms of retail has been trying to really push this one. You're starting to see multiple different tweets about Mullen, but overall, you'd see in the last 24 hours, there has been some significant mentions about Mullen and people tracking social media relating towards Mullen. So that kind of gives you a bit of an aspect that there's a lot of tension right now. And of course there is. The stock has really dropped around 20-something%. And there's a lot of people that are talking about short squeezes for Mullen. And there could be absolutely potential for a short squeeze. It's not really showing on my side because I'm not using trading data, but rather than investments data at this time. But Mullen can easily and significantly have a massive short interest as it dropped around 20%. I would say some of these are sellers, some of these are short sellers. So it still goes as an umbrella of sellers. And there's a lot of selling right now that is going that really dropped this price from around $3 to around $2. Now we can move on towards technical analysis. But before then, if you would like to see more contents like this, make sure to click the subscribe button and leave notification buttons on for this channel. And don't forget to drop the like button if you enjoyed this video so far, or if you would like to see more contents like this. Let's jump towards technical analysis now. Now, from a technical analysis standpoint of view, Mullen has been having a bit of a mixed kind of technical analysis, and you get to see that with the price point. It jumped up to 418 this week, or actually last week, back on the 21st of March. This week, Monday, actually. Anyway, days are kind of all merging into one for me at this point, but I hope that you're not feeling the same. So 10 SMA has crossed above the 30 EMA, and that was back on the 22nd of March. That's a very bullish action. And the price point is still above the 50 SMA, where that can be significantly a massive support at the 212. So keep in mind, 50 SMA, once the stock price is above the 50 SMA, it is actually in a bullish zone. 10 SMA and the 30 EMA. When the 10 SMA is above the 30 EMA, the distance between them is called the trading action zone, and that's where most positive reversals actually do occur. And that 10 SMA is at 254, and the 30 EMA is at 216. The price point is at 235, so that makes it smack in the middle, basically suggesting that there's a very strong chance of a bullish reversal towards this one, while it still remains above the 50 SMA, which still makes it very bullish. Now, the 80X is showing around 38.72, suggesting that this upwards trend is still very bullish, and the William %R is seeing a bit of a retraction. It's not oversold yet, but it's very close to do so. You might see a little bit of a similar results by the Relative Strength Index, or RSI, but you would see it either closer to the oversold or closer to the or just somewhere in a neutral or after oversold. So it kind of made it a little bit incohesive there, but basically what I'm trying to say is that there is more supply at this level than there is demand at this given standpoint of view. Now, momentum, you're able to see it's dipping, but it's still positive, so that is really good. You're starting to see it at 120. Now, before it went to a high of around, I believe, 330 or 260, but it hasn't gone towards the negative side ever since the 4th of March, and still you're seeing some significant positive momentum, so that's good. Now, the MACD has gone towards a dip a little bit. It's kind of going on closer towards the 0 level. That's a bit of a dangerous level that you're seeing here, but it's going a little bit downwards, not towards a negative reversal, but the momentum itself, or the MACD, is slowing down. You're starting to see that itself by the momentum indicator. Now, stochastic fast and stochastic slow are dipping downwards, suggesting that there might be a test for the next major support, and if it does break it, it's not looking that good. But taking a look into the moving average bands, you're still seeing more of a parabolic move. It's still going upwards, and that's a really good thing. Bollinger Bands are between 353 and 13 cents, while the moving average bands are between 202 and 165, with 183 in the middle. So it's still above the moving average bands, and you can expect that 202 to be another support. So now you have two supports to think about. The 50 SMA, which is sitting somewhere closer to around 216, and then you got the moving average bands on the top at around 202. So those are two different supports that you can keep in mind. Now, additionally, on the moving average bands, we kind of seen that there is still a lot of hope. But now we want to take a look into first Fibonacci retracements, just in case it starts breaking those resistances. Now, I did talk about Fibonacci retracements, and I said 415 is one of the most significant resistances, and we see that it rejected it and it dropped down. After that, it's 640, 821, 1003, 1262, and 1591. Now, with supports, let's take a look into supports first. So right off the bat, we start seeing a few. So currently, the first support that this one is seeing is around 226. Below there, it's closer to around $2 or 201 to be specific, and then 176, 169, going down to 154, and then a little bit lower to around 136, and then a little bit lower to around 125, drops down significantly to $1, and then 82 cents, and then down to around 63 and 50 cents. Significant resistances, there are a few significant resistances. The first one is at 244 and then 254, so those are very close, and then it jumps up to 284 and then higher to around 331 and then to 350 and 362. And then above there, of course, there is around the 418, but before them there's a significant one around 404, 456, and then around 503, and you kind of get the point, 584 and 603. Now, for this stock, there has been some significant developments, and last time I drew a channel. And let me just move on quick towards the 1 hour perspective and then draw that channel. So right off the bat, you're starting to see that that channel kind of broke down a little. But the good news is that this stock is still pushing on with some momentum. Even though the channel has broken down, you can still kind of draw a new channel for this one. It has two standpoints, and it still goes upwards. Now, it's not a perfect channel by any means, of course. It has a few kind of touching points. Perhaps if you shorten it just a little, you get the third point here. But if it doesn't see a green day, then that's very terrible for it on Monday. So if it sees a green day on Monday, that's a very good news. And I do anticipate for this one to keep pushing forward. But if it starts breaking down and it breaks any of the previous supports I did talk about, whether it's the moving averages on the top, the 202, or the 50 SMA around 216, or even the next significant support, perhaps somewhere around the $2, if it breaks all three, I think we're in very much of trouble. But if it doesn't, or starts bouncing against it, then I think that this one can still reach significantly higher where it is right now. I'm not going to say new heights because the 52 high is around 1590. That's a little bit hard to reach right now if it doesn't get massive support from retail. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day.